Okay, morning everyone. Thanks for joining us. Welcome to this coffee and catch up that we've organised from Do Well in celebration of International Women's Day. And we've invited a few of our inspirational friends to join us to talk to us a little bit about what their experiences and challenges are and what's important to them in their life, and just to kind of share with us a little bit about their paths and journeys and challenges that they've experienced along the way. So wanted to welcome Donna, Julia and Sushma to our coffee and catch up this morning. Thanks for sparing us your time. We know you're really busy and it's a crazy world, so spending some time with us like this is great. So I'm going to just ask a kind of opening question, I guess, really, which is just can you tell us a little bit about yourself, really, and what your passions are and what sort of drives you? What are the things that you get really excited about or really cross about? So maybe start with you, Donna. Do you want to give us an indication?
Yeah, no problem. Oh my God, where to start? So I'm Donna Hall. I live in Bolton. I've lived in Bolton most of my life. Like Paula, got 3 dogs, 1 cat, 2 grown-up children. 1 still lives at home. I'm passionate about local government, so about councils, about reforming public services, about women's rights, about equality, and about person-centred services and approaches, starting off with the person and the family. So I'm adopted as a child, and mum and dad lived in Bolton, working class roots. I was born in a place called Breakness in Bolton. And I'm really proud to now chair the hospital in my hometown. That's like the pinnacle of my career, really. But for the last 20 odd years, I've been a chief exec in local government. So I went to, not a fantastic school in Bolton, I'll be honest, but kind of just loved literature. And sorry, you can hear me dogs in the background. Hope that's all right. Love literature. Met some inspiring people at school. Like my English teacher was the person who really saw something in me that could be developed. And first person to go to uni in my family. So that's my background and what I'm passionate about. But what makes me cross is inequality. That bloody, sorry, am I allowed to swear?
Yeah.
That chair of the Flaming Olympics Committee in Japan this morning, who said that women talk too much. Did you hear that?
Oh no, I've not heard that.
Oh my God, it's on the news this morning. So what he's stood down, thank God, he's seen the error of his ways. But he said women should be given set times to speak because they speak too much in meetings.
Oh my goodness.
that has a whiff of Jackie Weaver about it.
I know, Jackie Weaver.
We knew Jackie Weaver would get mentioned at some point today, so and if it wasn't going to be mentioned, we were definitely going to be asking about it, because it's definitely a pertinent point, isn't it, right now? But I mean, can you imagine? I mean, saying that out loud, that's just crazy.
I know. So I think people have told him it's not advisable, and all the evidence said that men talk more than women in meetings. So he's absolutely totally wrong. But I hate bullying. So I've had a few people attempted to bully me in my career. When I was at Wigan in particular, there was a couple of councillors and ex-councillors who just horrific. I've never seen anything like it, to be honest. Mm. And they were bullying my staff. It's just unbelievable. Mm. So I stood up for my staff, and I won't go into detail, but it was all over the press at the time. It was shocking. But yeah, bullying. I've always had a thing about bullies. Particularly male bullies who think they can get away with it, and when they try to bully women.
No, I think that's probably something that a lot of people can relate to as well, isn't it? In terms of lots of different situations that they find themselves in, either being bullied or witnessing bullying, like you've just said, and it's so impactful on people's lives, isn't it? That kind of approach. So really can get behind that, I think. Any other thoughts on what I mean, loads of stuff you've shared there, Donna. I mean, three dogs as well, and managing to keep them quiet today. We'll if you manage to do that, share it with me, really, because I'm thinking I might need to get some psychological help for my dog, because he just usually ends up with his head on the middle of the keyboard during my work of a day, every day. So that might happen at some point today as well.
Donna, can I ask you about assertiveness? And what I mean by this is it's interesting you talk about, you know, you sharing your examples and experience of bullying. And sometimes, you know, women in business, in the workplace, or probably just anywhere, to be honest, so sometimes reluctant to be assertive on their own behalf. They can be quite passive about what happens to them. But sometimes you get this energy where you're actually quite assertive on behalf of other people. And I'm wondering if you sort of felt that energy and passion when you sort of see that bullying happening to other people.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think I would describe myself actually as an introvert. And you might think, well, how can you be, you know, centre stage as a chief exec when you're an introvert? But it's always been the passion for the place, you know, like my passion for Bolton, passion for Wigan. You know, I'm a northerner. I believe in the north having more say in policies. You can see inequality, can't you, up here? And when you go to London, it's like another world, isn't it? So yeah, I think it's always, I've always had to kind of like grit my teeth. I remember going for my driving lesson when I was 17 in Bolton, and my dad said to me, "You've got to pass because we can't afford to put you through it again." Or I was paying. I worked at Henry's drive-through restaurant in the centre of Bolton. I don't know if you remember it, Paula. You might be too young, but I worked there, and every penny be wage went on driving lessons. And my dad said, "You've got to pass it." So I've got this, like, I don't know, this kind of survival thing kicks in where even if, you know, if I'm feeling the most nervous, worried, insecure, something about, you know, I've got to do this, that kind of internal thing, something just clicks. And I remember the first time it did was sat in a car in my driving lesson thinking, I can do this, because I couldn't afford not to do it.
I suppose it's that bloody mindedness, isn't it? I wonder. You made me smile there, Donna, because I'm just thinking about, I passed my driving test when I was 24 because, as you know, I've got two brothers, and in our house, my mum and dad could only afford for my eldest brother to have driving lessons, and so that they weren't even up for discussion. He was just the sort of the eldest child, and he got it. But I'm also thinking about that north-south stuff, and many years ago, I went down to London, and I was doing a course at Myers-Briggs, and with one of my friends and colleagues, Andrea Flamley from Bolton at Home. And they used to refer to us all the time. We're down a week-long courses. So what do you women from the north think? Northern women think. What do the northern girls think about this? And that is how so we told them.
Yeah, but I think driving's really, it kind of, I remember when I was learning to drive, my mum was really insistent that we learned to drive at the age of 17 because she realised that it gave you so much independence, and she was really, you know, passionate that we did it, all of us. I mean, I've got a brother and a sister, but she was, you know, it was something we did at 17. You absolutely had to learn to drive because, you know, once you did, the world's your oyster sort of thing. So yeah, it's interesting, isn't it, how we sort of get some of those things sort of driven into us, literally. Thanks, Donna. Julia, do you want to share us a little bit about you and your passions? And I know you've got lots of them.
Yeah, thanks, Sheena. It was interesting to listen to Donna, actually, because a lot of things resonated with me. So I'm really passionate about place, and I'm from Oldham. I lived in Oldham for 40 something years, and actually now I'm a migrant because I moved 1.5 miles down the road and I live in Rochdale. So I know, so it's a very familiar place, but a very different place as well. And I live and work in Rochdale now, and I truly believe in that. It's got amazing people, just as Oldham does. It's an amazing place to live. It's an amazing place to work, and a real privilege to be part of, you know, a bit like what Paula was saying, just that northern grit and determination and resilience that people that I work with and serve have got. So I'm really passionate about that. I'm a mum to 3 boys, and I've got a husband of long-suffering husband, perhaps of 20 plus years. You know, I'll say he's long-suffering, but we all know that he has the life of Riley as well in terms of. You know, really passionate about, obviously, my family. I'm really lucky to have been brought up with my mum and dad, who are still with us today. They're really healthy, look after themselves. And, you know, they worked all their lives to make sure that we had a really positive upbringing and a really loving, respectful family. And also that was with my aunties and cousins as well. We had a really close-knit, wide community where it was just really normal for us to be sat in my grandma's 1-bedroom social housing flat on a Saturday afternoon, and she'd cook a roast dinner for 14 of us easy, and we'd all just sit there wherever you could find a spot in a way. And, you know, so that real sense of family community that really helps you through, I suppose, those niggles that we had, because I can't say that we've had any big upsets, but maybe we did, but we just were able to support each other in a really supportive network. And I have that now with my friends as well, you know, so I'm really passionate about my friends and really grateful that I've got a really loving set of passionate, supportive friends who I think we all lift each other up. And that's both like my personal friends and my professional friends. And I think that I feel like I'm turning into an old woman now, but like you begin to be a bit more confident about the people you choose to confide in and spend your time with as well, don't you? And those that you know that will support you and listen to you and challenge you as well. So there is that. So I've got my career is local government mainly. So I did 20 years in local government finance. And then for the last 6 years now, I've worked in further education. So I came to Hotwood Hall College in Rochdale as VP for Finance and Corporate Resources. And then for the last nearly 2 years now, I've been Principal and Chief Exec of the college. And it's a real privilege to work with some amazing people and just to be surrounded by vibrant young people and adults who want to make a difference and want to better themselves. And I suppose one of my passions around that is I haven't necessarily taken not conventional, because you can take any route to where you get to, can't you? But I left school and I wasn't really that interested by the time I got to my GCSEs. I'd sort of like done enough to get through, but was unsure about what I wanted to do. So lost a little bit of interest, and I think, you know, caused my mum a lot of the grey hairs at that point through the last couple of years of school. So from being about 16 to being about 21, I just moseyed about in a way, doing a little bit of education, then going getting some, you know, office junior jobs, and my mum making me get a job where I was filing invoices all day in, day out at a builder's merchant, because they couldn't, you know, that's what you had to do, you have to work. And I was really fortunate then that when I worked at this builder's merchant, they found me an apprenticeship to do for finance. So I did a level 2, level 3, level 4 in finance. And then I had my first child, and then I moved to local authority. And then in a way continued to do an apprenticeship where I did my finance qualification supported by the local council that I was working in. So I'm really passionate about what opportunities there are for you at any point in your life, and, you know, a thirst for, I suppose, lifelong learning, and a thirst that, and I don't mean this in any glib way, but honestly, if I can do it, anybody can do it, because it's just around that, I suppose, that support network, seeing people who you can aspire to be and wanting to be one of those people, because, you know, there is a lot of doom and gloom around the place. You know, you can be doom and gloom in perhaps some of the communities that we support in terms of that inequality and lack of opportunity and maybe lack of role models, and hope that, you know, I can perhaps help somebody who's not gone on a conventional route to whatever they want to achieve, that you can just achieve that.
Brilliant.
I love that, Julia, that idea that there's not just one route, and I think I'm from the, so I think celebrating the 51st birthday, and I'm just listening to your story and I'm thinking, it's only as I've got older that I sort of valued education. So I left school at 16. I had no aspiration at all, because there was just no one around me who went to university, or probably what we now know as sixth form, college and college. So I left and I started as a YTS, and that were it. And I were happy with me lot because I were earning. And I remember buying my mum and dad a pair of shoes because I worked in the shoe shop, £26.50 a week. I absolutely loved it. I thought I were really up there. And it's only as I've got older, or you know, it's got on in years and probably had kids where I thought I've really engaged again with education and learning. And I don't know whether that makes me feel old or empowered. I can't decide which it is, but I love that idea you sort of said there's not just one route, because I think people think there is just one route, but actually it's almost like, you know, if you imagine it as a tree, the trunk is education, but the branches and the leaves, you can just go anywhere with it. And not all education needs to be formal. So, oh, you made me think about a lot there. Thank you.
No, I think that's really, it resonates with me a lot as well, because my mum, when we were growing up, she used to work in a supermarket when we were young, and she used to work in a doctor's surgery as a receptionist. And it was only when she was about 40 that she went back to university and did a degree, and she went and did social work and became an approved social worker. And so for the last sort of, you know, 15 years of her working life, she was, you know, doing, you know, some fairly harrowing work really in a lot of cases around approved social work and stuff like that. But that was as a result of, you know, going back to university and retraining and doing something completely different. So I think she taught us that it's never too late to do anything, you know, around learning and change, and you can do whatever you want really. And I know with my own children now, so I've got 4 children, I've got 3 boys and a girl, and they're all so different in terms of the paths that they've chosen, and you know, and even the direction that they go in. You know, even though my eldest, she went to university, did something, started actually doing a course, a degree course, and then after the first year decided she didn't want to do it. And I remember thinking, God, it's the end of the world, you know, and all this sort of thing. She's, you know, got this place, and she switched and did something else that she really enjoyed, and that was fine, and it was no drama. And now she's off doing something completely different again. And I think, you know, that's you know, that's brilliant really, isn't it? Because who knows what they want to do at that age as well, and at any age really, you know, the kind of opportunities to do something different and follow your passions, we should be encouraging that really, shouldn't we? You know, and giving.
And I think it's also around inclusion as well, in terms of that everybody's included in that, aren't they? No matter where you're from, what your background is, what your history is, in a way, you should be able to have those opportunities opened to you. But I do go back to, though, that I think that, you know, what for me, it was, you know, having just that network around you who supports you and picks you up when those things happen, like you're describing around your daughter there, Sheena, in terms of, you know, you need somebody to pick you up and be a safety net, don't you? And I think that that's what's important around the areas perhaps that we serve. It's about what they can see and who picks you up, or who catches you.
I think, exactly. Julia, just from what you said there and from what you said earlier, so I thought the big word that's popping in my mind about what you've shared so far is support networks. So you talked about your family, you talked about your career, you talked about your friends, and it feels like you've got a really strong support network around you, and it's around, I suppose, I would wrap them around young people who don't feel they've got that, you know, who don't feel that they've got a way out. And we quite often say, don't we, or a lot of people quite often say, you can't be what you can't see. And I think, well, let's just switch that to more positive things. You can be what you can see. So look for things, you know, and that's why I think it's so important, you know, that we're here having this chat today, because we're all here because we've chose to you know, to do certain things. We've chose to challenge when sometimes it gets tough. And that message, you know, it's all right. You know, that, you know, I'm going to sort of quote Captain Tom, tomorrow's another day. Lots of things where we think, oh, how do we get out of this? It's moments, and if we can sort of live through some of them moments, it helps us achieve more, I think. So yeah, it sounds like networks are really important to you, Julia.
Yeah, and I get annoyed about nearly everything, and especially in these times.
Yeah, definitely.
You get passionate, do you? Let's switch that language again. You get passionate about lots of things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant. Thanks, Julia. Sushma.
Hi.
How about you?
Right, I'm from a completely different background to Julia and Donna. Obviously, you both have been in government and, you know, all that. My background is, I was born in Kenya, got married, came to the UK about 26 years now. So I've lived in Bolton longer than I lived in Kenya now. So this is my home now. I've got 2 daughters, married, worked in travel for 28 years. Used to do all business travel, corporate travel. My last job was working in marine travel, which was amazing. It was my passion. I loved it, absolutely loved it. I had no idea about it at first, but when I started in it, it was just amazing. It's the movie, if I don't know if any of you watched Captain Phillips, the Tom Hanks one, where they hijacked the ship and that. So after that, that was a real story. And after that, there was companies. One of the biggest companies in England that sends all these security guys on board. So I used to work with all these security, very hunky men, sending them a team of 5 going on ships and, sending them on flights with weapons and stuff like that. I loved it. I loved what I did. But again, coming down to where we started with Donna saying, bullying, it was a big thing. I got bullied at work. Obviously being a woman, number 1. Number 2, being Asian, it was really hard. It was the worst time. And at the same time, I had both my in-laws in hospital. My mother-in-law was about 4 months critically ill in ICU. So it was a hard time, and I thought, I can't carry on doing this anymore. So I had to leave. I had no job, I just quit. So that's a bit of my background. I didn't know what I was going to do actually when I quit work. I got to a stage where I thought, I'm going to be a lady of leisure. I'm just going to sit at home, go out for coffees with my friends, lunches. You've got nobody to go out with because all your friends are working. So a week went, I thought, I'll just stay at home, tidied the whole house up, did everything, like you do, things that have been waited, you were going to do them one day and they never happen. So did all that. Week 2, started getting bored because I'm one of those that can't sit still. I do a lot of things outside my normal life, and I thought, right, what can I do? Maybe a couple of hours, just because going to the hospital, visiting my in-laws every day was quite hard. Just needed to get out and find somewhere I could talk to somebody because I'm very much of a people person. And applied for a few jobs. Everybody said no. I didn't think it was so hard to get a job in a supermarket or, just Home Bargains or somewhere like that. And last one I applied was Pound Shop, and I got a horrible letter to tell me that I haven't got experience in retail. And I thought, oh my God, that broke me. That actually broke me. And I thought, oh God, I can't be that bad. And when you're down and somebody kicks you like that, it's so hard. And it took me into depression. I was never wanted to speak to anybody, get out of the house or get out of the room. The girls were like, what's wrong? The family was, we were always arguing and all that. But I thought, right, what am I good at? My passion is cooking. I'm very creative. And somebody mentioned to me, a few people mentioned, why don't you do this? And I thought, okay. And I've always wanted to teach people how to cook and wanted people to cook from scratch. And, that's been my passion. That's something I love. And I thought, right, I'll do this. So set up a Facebook page, being so naive and stupid, I think, at times. About 4 years ago, I think I was like that. I think I've realized a lot in those 4 years when I posted it out. I've got a cookery lesson on 18th of September, thinking there's going to be loads of people who are going to be interested. Set up a Facebook page, no idea how to do all that at that time, just playing around, got it, posted it, nothing. Nobody even looked at it. Now you can see how many people have viewed it, but before you couldn't. So I thought, no one's answering or nobody sees it, and I'm very impatient. I need answers straight away. So I waited an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, nothing. So I thought, see, it's not happening. Nothing's going to work. I don't want to do this. And I had a strop. Left it. About 5:30 in the evening, I got 50 messages come through.
Wow.
And I absolutely shit myself. Because I thought, shit, when am I going to do it? I've got nothing to do. I've got no place. I've got no equipment. I winged this thinking, oh, maybe 5 people will say yes, and I'll cross that bridge when I get there. And I thought, oh, what do I do? What do I do now? Anyway, I thought I can't put in a lot of money into a business that I haven't got. So I registered the company, quickly registered, got in touch with Bolton Services and all that. Got my food hygiene sorted, and I got they've got to come and check what ratings they can give you and all that. I did all that, and I thought, right, I've got a choice now, either to take these people on or just turn around and say, I can't do this anymore. I put in £500 into my business. That's all my limit was. I thought, I'm not going to put all my savings in it because it might not work. And yeah, 4 years later, I'm here. I got them. I started working from home. Started just cookery lessons, and like I say, at the moment, once upon a time I was a caterer and a travel consultant. At the minute, I don't know what I am or what I do. I've had to change a lot of things in the last 11 months. Yeah, so that's me. I think I've had the 2 best jobs of travel and food.
Sounds good to me. Those are definitely some of the things that I enjoy doing anyway, Sushma. And I think what you just said, you don't know what you are. I mean, I think, what your journey is inspirational. It's that entrepreneurship, isn't it? Of thinking, get into the depths of depression, and then still being able to think, what am I good at? And bringing yourself back out.
It's very hard when you're in that
tough,
little rut, and trying to get out.
Yeah.
But yes, I have got some lovely people around me. And it's not been easy. Don't get me wrong, it's not been easy. When I started, nobody knew me. Nobody knew who I was or anything. But now I can walk around anywhere, and the minute they see me with my top and saying Sushma Snacks, they all know who I am, or, oh, I've eaten your food, I've heard a lot about you. So yeah, that's one of my... I feel good when I hear that. I never used to say this. I used to hate saying this, but it's been drummed into me by Paula. And yeah, it's my passion is just to teach people, just want people to learn how to cook from scratch, and
And you do a lot of giving back as well, don't you, Sushma? You do, because that was the thing that I remember kind of noticing about the things that you were doing, was that you were doing the sponsorship and supporting the work that Paula was doing around when she was doing fundraising for the hospice. And I know you do stuff around the homeless, and it's that giving back bit as well, isn't it? Of not just thinking about this is for myself. This is actually about a much wider kind of contribution than just for yourself.
Yeah, well, to be honest, I don't like speaking about all that. I don't like telling people what I do and all that, because I just think people might think that I'm trying to show off, and that I'm not here to do that, and I wouldn't do that. It's my passion. A friend of mine, a very dear friend of mine, started the homeless kitchen about 4 years ago, Krista, and I didn't know of her until I did Sleep Out with Backup. They used to be called, I can't remember what they were called at that time, but yeah, and I did a Sleep Out, and I met another friend down there, Lisa Forshaw, and just got to know her. We had such a good laugh, and that evening I thought, we were talking, and she goes, oh, we're in a homeless kitchen. And I said, oh, she goes, what do you do? And I said, oh, I do food. I said, if you ever need any help, let me know. So she goes, and I've always wanted to do stuff like that. So she rang me. We did this on a Friday night. So Sunday I went to the homeless kitchen, went there straight away, got into it, and started doing drinks every day. Then I started doing the food. And obviously it was just bad, and we lost Krista in October of that year, and I carried on running the kitchen. It's not been easy. Sorry.
No, it's all right. I'll just sort of say, yeah, Sushma's art is very close to everything she does. And I know she won't like me talking about it, but I really do hold Sushma up there like that, because she's an amazing woman. And she, you know, she's got tears now. And I was going to say, when we're together, there's a lot of tears, because they use tears of joy or tears of sadness. So every time me and Sush meet and we go out for something to eat, there's not a time goes by when Sushma doesn't buy a meal for someone in the cafe without them knowing. And she looks for the loneliest people, because she really cares. And I know it's not a driver. It's just who she is. And I think for me, you know, there's not enough of. I'd like to see more Sushmas in the world. Because she quite happily go without on behalf of others. I'll just switch your thinking now, Sosh, for you. One of the stories that I were always amazed with, so Sosh has got 2 daughters, like she's told you, and she told me that she started in travel industry, and you told me a story about when you'd moved to Dubai, and it was a time of your life where women couldn't go out on their own. So just tell us a little bit more about that, because that's all about friendships and relationships.
I lived in Kenya. I was born and brought up down there, and then I got a job in Dubai, which was about 35 years ago. I mean, that was a long time ago. And as you know, Dubai at that time was a very different place. It was very male oriented. It was a very Islamic place. And I turned up one day working for Kenya Airways, and arrived there at the airport in a denim skirt, thinking, oh, I'm going on holiday, I'm going to Dubai. But when I arrived there, at that time you had to pick up, I mean, now it's electronic everything, but at that time you had to go to this visa desk and pick up your visas and all that. Go there, there was nobody there. So I went to the immigration guy, and he said to me, right, where's your visa? I said, there's nobody there. Anyway, he goes, give me your passport. And I said, no. I thought, what if he runs away with my passport? And you're naive and that when you're younger. I mean, now I know a lot more things that I think back and think how stupid were you at that time. But so I sat there, but they all stared at you. And I didn't realize what was going on. In their heads, they were looking at a woman with legs showing. Right. For me, it was just normal, because that's how we dressed in Kenya, and it was a hot country. And good job I didn't turn up in a vest top or something like that. But it made me feel like I was naked with the way they were looking at me. And anyway, I got out of there. It was a long story about that. I got out of there. I couldn't get into my apartment, so they put me up in a hotel. And it was nothing, no 5-star, nothing posh. Put me up in this hotel, stayed there. It was about a 3-star hotel. I went to work one day, came back. Like I said, I'm a people person. I don't like sitting in hotel rooms, even if I paid hundreds of pounds in a nice fancy hotel. I like to be with people, and I like to meet people. So I used to come back, and food was paid for, everything was paid for. So, and there was nowhere to go. So when I came back, I used to sit down in the lobby and just people watch and chat to the guys at the reception. I was sat there. And
so acceptable was it for women to go out and about on their own?
No. I mean, they're in Dubai at that time. Now it's quite open, but at that time there was not many tourists. You were all covered from top to bottom, like all you could see. Some of the Arabic women, you could just see, you hardly see even the face, because they used to wear only with the eyes. The eyes is all you could see. They were covered completely. And I was sat there, but because men passing by the hotel, they could see me sat there. They used to come to ask for rooms. This is how bad it used to be. And I was quite naive. I never realized all this. So the guy at the desk said to me, do you know why? Do you mind sitting on the other side? And I thought, why are they saying that? And then I said, why? And he goes, the reason why they're coming to ask for rooms and wanting a room next to yours is because you sat here. And I'm like, what? Why? And I felt really horrible, that as if I was, encouraging them or something. And he said, no, it's because they've seen a woman sat there with a skirt, and it just makes you feel they think that they can get into your room, right? And I'm like, what? Anyway, these guys were lovely. They were from India, the two fellas. So then Rajinda and another girl called Carol, and we became friends. And we have in Hinduism, we have a friendship like a brother-sister day, and we tie a little red thread. It's called Rakhi, right? And it was August, and I sat there and said to the guy, every day we used to talk about all sorts of things, and they were from India, so we were talking, and he says, "Oh, I said, it's the first time in my life not tied one to my brother, because I'm here, he's in Kenya," and he's like, "Oh, I've never had anybody do that to me because I've got no sister." And I just sat there. There was a corner, kind of like a corner shop, so I ran across the road, gone and got one, and I said, "Do you mind if I tie this to you?" And he's like, he just looked at me. And he burst out crying, and he goes, "No," he goes, "I can't, because what happens is when you do that, your brother gives you a little gift." He goes, "I've got nothing to give you." And I said, I'm not doing this because I want a present or want anything in return. I just think it would be nice. Anyway, 35 years later, I'm still friends with him. He is an amazing guy. He was just some receptionist at a hotel in Dubai. Today, he's a millionaire in Bahrain. He's got one of the best apartments in Mumbai. Last year, this time I was in Mumbai. Today, I was there, and I told him I was going for my 50th birthday. And two of my best friends came with me. And I just told him, I said, "Oh, Prasad, I'm going to Mumbai. I'm going to India." And he's like, "When? What time? What day?" And I'm like, "Why?" And he goes, "Right, you're staying at my apartment." I said, "No, I'm not even going to Mumbai first. I can't stay there." "No, you are." He goes, "I only bought an apartment last week, but it's not furnished. But by the time you go, it will be done." I said, "No, you don't have to." So he got the whole apartment furnished for me. It was out of this world. If you ever get a minute, Google Lodha Towers in Mumbai. Actually, it was on one of the programs. I can't remember what it was called, but it was on one of the programs. It is out of this world. And I meet I've got a lot of friends around the world, and I keep friends. What I don't like is when people are fake people, bullies, liars. I don't do that. And I'm one person. I hold a grudge. I can hold a grudge if I want. And there's no need for that. Life's too short.
Yeah.
But one of the reasons I asked you to tell that story, Sush, is because it just demonstrates the power of friendship and the fact that, when you give attention to people and really look into who people are, you get a really strong bond. So that brother sister bracelet that Sush gave him, what she's not told you, she sends him one every single year, and she speaks to him every single year on that special day, and that's really powerful, isn't it? And I also like the idea that he was willing to, sort of give Sushma attention when, like I said, she felt dirty, she felt like she shouldn't be there, and actually he probably challenged some things on behalf of you, Sush. So yeah, that's why I love that story.
You know what? Even today, I mean, as we all know, times have been very difficult the last 11 months, and he must have messaged me. We message each other every week, just checking how everybody is. And he messaged me about maybe a month and a half ago. And I think I was in a bad place that day. I don't know what I said, and it worried him so much. So he messaged my husband, and he said, "Is she all right?" And he goes, "Because I've never heard her speak like that. She was very short with me, and I've never heard her." So he got so worried, and he rang him and said, "Is she all right?" And he had a big conversation. And then he says, "Right, if she's okay, I'll ring her again." And he rang me and he says, "It's business. It's only business." But you know what he made me do is I did a couple of nights at Nook and Cranny where I did, I was doing some food.
You know that, Donna. You know Nook and Cranny.
Oh yes.
And I did some, was it 2 nights I did, yeah. And when I finished, and I was telling him about it, how well it went, you know, my platters and all that. And he goes to me, right. And he's very business minded. Somebody who was just at reception, moved from Dubai to Muscat, worked in a bank. From there, he moved to Bahrain and he was working for Citibank, became a manager. So he's very business minded. And then he put his money into oil and gas, where he made a lot of money out of it, and he's retired. He retired at 40 or something like that. And he said to me, right, I've got my business now. Where are you taking this business? Why are you not moving? What's going on? I'm like, whoa, hang on. Well, I can't go. I do everything myself. He goes, I don't care. I need this plan and I need this to move forward. So he told me I need to go into, why can't you have these platters, you know, froze, and then they just put them in the oven like a pizza and get them warmed up? Why can't you go to, you know, supermarkets and go and start selling them out? So yes, he's very inspirational. He's very good. I'm blessed to have certain people like that around me.
Yeah, as I use social. So you just made me think about. So I want to ask Donna and Julia about this. Is one of your values that really shines through social, and I think you would never put it down, even if you know people were really trying to force you, is that a value of kindness.
Yeah.
So I want to ask. I'll come to you first, Julia. If there's one value that you're not willing to let go, what would it be?
That's a tricky one, isn't it? I mean, kindness is a really interesting concept in terms of where we are at the moment and how you and what kindness means actually, because when we reset our values at college 12-18 months ago, kindness came through quite a lot in that, in terms of how we wanted to be seen and how we want to treat people and how we want to be treated. But it doesn't mean that means that you say yes to everything, does it? You know, it's around honesty and compassion and being true to yourself, kindness, isn't it? So, you know, I think it's probably something that none of us would want to let go of, kindness, isn't it, in terms of that. I think probably another value is just that championing people. I mean, it doesn't really sit as a value, does it? But being a champion of you and what your values are and overtly showing them. Because I think that as leaders or parents or, you know, friends, you've got to be able to wear those passions on your sleeve, because that's who you are. And if you do hide them, that goes back to what Susha was just saying, isn't it? That's maybe when you're not as trustworthy or people can't see who you are. So I'm definitely rubbish at, I've never played poker, but I know I'll be definitely rubbish at it, because, and I say this all the time, out of every pore in my body, my values come out of it, and my face says it all the time. And I kick myself a lot of the times for that, you know, like especially when you're in your professional mode and you're trying to do your meetings and somebody says something and you can't help do, you know, you want to be professional about it. But actually what it shows is that you do care and you do believe in things and you want to question and ask things because you want the right thing. So I think that all of those things in terms of wearing your brownie badges on your sleeve is, for me, is something I cannot not do, but I think that we should do, because it shows that, you know, that real intrinsic value set that you've got, and people, I think that people buy into that a lot easier than if you were poker faced, perhaps.
Yeah, I completely agree there, Julia, is that people do buy people. You made me think about a few things there. It's that my mum used to say, you know, sometimes you need to be cruel to be kind. So you can't be, you know, what looks like kind all the time. Sometimes you have to, you know, hold the mirror up to people, or actually be kind to yourself, and, you know, before you can look after other people.
Can I just add something there, Paula, as well? That reminded me of a conversation I had yesterday about with somebody else about compassionate leadership. And we were talking about, you know, that being an aspiration in an organisation that I do some work with. And they were sort of saying, well, yeah, but that can't be, you know, that's got to be, that's one thing. But, you know, you've got to deal with those people that are, you know, difficult or challenging. And, you know, that's kind of a separate thing. And I was sort of saying, well, I think it's actually one and the same thing really for me, because if you're a compassionate leader, then it kind of becomes your responsibility to raise those things about, you know, like you say, holding the mirror up and sort of, you know, knowing what it feels like to be on the receiving end of them. And I know that's something you say quite a lot of, Paula, and I think that's really relevant here. And Julia mentioned it earlier about, you know, your friends tell you when things don't sound right, you know what I mean? And you know, you might be ranting about something and you know, does that sound reasonable? Well, maybe not, you know, what might your learning be from that? And so they do challenge you in a different way, really. And that for me is all part of compassion and kindness. And I think, you know, the other thing that Julie was sort of saying, it was about, you know, wearing your heart on your sleeve, which Sushma showed us about today. And, you know, it's a really lovely thing, isn't it? And actually it does make you want to do things for that person, because you can really clearly see what it's that authenticity, isn't it? It's absolutely real. And I think, you know, I'm rubbish at sayings, I always forget them, but I think, you know, when Julia started doing the job that she was doing, I got her a little sign that says, "Are you rolling your eyes loudly?" And it's that thing about, you know, just, you know, sometimes you just need to keep a lid on things, but it's not always easy, is it? And I'd much rather know what somebody's thinking than what, you know, that they've got something going on behind that's not their true self, really. So
can I say something on there? I'm like that. You can read me like a book. My face says it all. It's quite hard. And we have this running joke in the family, right? The girls and my husband, they all just say, right, we're going somewhere, we're doing something. Just make sure, Mum, you've got your sunglasses on so people can't say or see what you want to say, because everything just shows on your face. But you know what? I got to 50 being who I am, and I'm not going to change.
Yeah.
So
whereas I have the opposite thing. People saying to me, you know, you can't read you, and you can't see what's going on, and sometimes, you know, I've always had that cheer up, love, you know, it might never happen. And actually that's just, I don't even realize that's just, you know, sometimes I've just got that face of just, you know, but it doesn't mean to say that I'm still not passionate about it. So that comes out in my words, or the way that I, you know, or my actions, I think, you know, so it might not always be written on my face, but it's definitely there in what I do, hopefully, fingers crossed.
I think a couple of things before.
Making me smile this conversation, because it's that idea of so when we're coaching and sort of in NLP world, we call it like leakage and seepage. So that, you know, when you go into somewhere and you really sort of wearing your heart on your sleeve, and I agree with you, Julia, that, you know, sometimes we should be showing our passions and who we champion. But I'm sort of thinking about, you know, women in business. Sometimes when we show who we are, people see us as being emotional rather than passionate. You know, and she's off on one. You know, she's having a rant. Must be time at month. All that type of stuff comes out. You know, she's weepy, she's emotional. She'll get over it. And so I sort of think, how do we that? Because I wrote down here that dialing up and dialing down, so that people can hear our voice over sometimes our what's seen as emotional behaviour. And I think that's a challenge sometimes for women in the workplace. So I think that, and one of the things you made me think about, Julia, is that champion others, and I love that as a value, because I had this metaphor of a leadership torch. So if we look at our toolkits as leaders, or just as women in general, is that you pick your torch up and you've got options. You can shine it on yourself, how wonderful am I? You can shine it into dark areas, letting other people sort of see, you know, there is other areas we can go, so shining the light there. Or you can shine it on other people as well, sort of say, look how fantastic, give other people the spotlight. And I think that's what I heard from you, is that, you know, championing on behalf of others. And that takes me back to that thing what I said to Donna earlier on around that. Sometimes it's a lot easier, isn't it, to be assertive on behalf of other people.
Yeah.
So Donna, what about you? What value are you not willing to give up?
I like courage as a value, feeling like you've just said, Paula, able to champion a cause or an idea, with passion, but always taking it back to ideas. So it's not about people, it's about like, what's the best thing to do in this situation? And really trying to focus on evidence and ideas as well as, and blending that with passion as well and conviction. So I've always, one thing that I really like, one little phrase I really like is bold humility. So you can be bold, you can do really scary, like hugely big things. I love your story, Sosh. That was just absolutely fantastic. It made me cry. And you've done some amazing things, but you're not, you've got humility about how you work. So that bold humility. And I think, I do think it's something that women are really good at. Look at Jacinda Ardern and all that. The way she's led New Zealand through the pandemic has been, she's taken really bold decisions, and she's not let, her driver was to not let anyone die, and that's what she said openly. She's done it with humility and as a team. So she's done it with a team of 4.8 million people, and seen herself as part of that team, but provided that inspirational leadership at the same time. I like kindness, but can I have a little bit of a just share my uncomfortableness with kindness a little bit? I think it's lovely, and it seems to have become a thing, doesn't it, now with the pandemic? Everyone says, be kind, and it's even on bags in supermarkets when you go shopping in Tesco. It's got to be kind on it. And I like, it's nice, but it doesn't change anything. It doesn't fundamentally change the power and the lack of equality that we've got, and the power vacuums that we've got in society at the moment, and what we need to fix. It reminds me a little bit of like a Victorian philanthropic type, be kind, Well, no, we need to change things. We can't just be kind. That's nice, but we need to bloody shake things up, because this country's knackered. Sorry. This country's knackered. We've got huge inequality. COVID has brought into sharp relief some really serious problems we've got as a society, about poverty, about lack of equality, about race, about, we've not got a cohesive society, and we've got to change things, and kindness won't do that. So, I love kindness. I think it's a lovely, laudable thing, but it's not on its own. It's not enough. Personal view.
Yeah, I love that, Donna, because you made me think there around that. They call it a glad sad situation. So really glad that there's lots of people in our communities who are willing to step in and support people. Sad that it's happening in this day and age. And then moving on to what are we going to do about it? And I think that's a link, so we absolutely need people who are willing to stand up to sort of fill the gap, but they can't go on forever. That gap has got to reduce.
Can I just say something on there? I know what you say, Donna. I totally get that. I mean, I don't know if I'm kind or what I am. I have no idea. But since March, since we've been into this pandemic, right? Obviously, my business completely stopped, because I used to do loads of events, and I used to be here, there, everywhere. And then I had to think on the spot, and I've changed. I have changed massively into what I do now. One thing that came to me at that stage was when we couldn't go out to, go and shop, and people were wasting food and all that. I have a passion. I will fight this. I don't care how long it will take. I don't think this is going to go away very soon. I have a dream of opening, I want to do this, right? Opening a community kitchen that I can feed people who haven't got hot meals. There are so many kids, so many families who are going without a hot meal. And there's so much food that gets wasted every day by supermarkets, restaurants, wherever. I mean, somebody give me 200 sausages, I'll make you a sausage mash and gravy or whatever, Or it's like I'm not bragging about myself or anything, but I did, I've taken up every Tuesday, I do meals for Bolton Lads and Girls Club at the minute, because they're really struggling, because the teenagers, I don't understand how this works, but apparently the older kids are not getting meals or whatever it is. And I said, I'll do some meals for them. And last week, not this Tuesday gone, the week before, I made sausage mash and peas and gravy for the meal. And the lady went to deliver them. She went to Little Eva, dropped them off, and the little girl says to her, "What have we got today for a hot meal?" Because I do mine hot individually, whereas some of them are giving them in bulk, you see, so they share it out. And she goes, "Oh, it's sausage mash and gravy and peas." And she's like, "Oh my God, sausages." And she goes, "Yeah, why do you not like them?" And she goes, "No, we love sausages, but my mummy doesn't let us buy them because they're too expensive." And when she told me that, I just burst out crying. I was on the main road putting, the food in her car. And I said, "What did you just say?" I thought I heard wrong. I mean, I'm going through menopause and I hear all sorts of things half the time, right? And she says, "Yeah." I said, "Sausages are expensive." I said, "I'm not saying go and buy the most expensive sausages." No. She goes, "Maybe." I said, "So what do they eat then?" She goes, "I don't know, maybe just beans on toast or something." It broke my heart that kids can't have a basic meal like this. And you know what? It's going back to where I came from. And this is what it's very difficult to digest at the minute. I saw a lot of poverty in Kenya. I mean, 26 years ago, Kenya was, on the street, you'd find beggars, people going through bins, looking for food. And today, not in a million years I ever thought when I moved to England I'd see anything like that. And today when I see that people are going without food, no hot meals, kids especially, and elderly. I love kids, don't get me wrong, but the elderly people mean the world to me. I love older people. I've got a street on Bishop's Road, right, that I go all the bungalows and I just go and bake cakes and take them. And it's Valentine's on Sunday, so I've got cakes baked for them, so just drop them off. And one lady just said to me the other week, why are you doing this? I said, "Because I just want to do it. Because that smile on your face just means a lot to me." And now I've got a whole street wave at me every time I'm walking, so that makes my day. But this is what I'm saying, it's not, I don't want to do kindness because it's going to give me brownie points. No, it's making somebody smile at the minute.
Yeah.
I hope this community kitchen will, I'm in the middle of, I have to do a lot of, I don't know, business plans, and I'm not an admin person. I hate stuff like that. I just want to do things. So I'm hoping I will get through the council a place where I just need a little shop or somewhere where I can just rock up, cook my meals. Anybody gives me surplus food, make them and put them in the freezer, just get them out and every day. Because Greggs are quite good. They give us all your leftover food, you see. So could just do bread. Somebody walks in the morning, a hot chocolate and a cheese on toast for somebody. I'm prepared to do that. I can do that every day, any day. So
what I like, Sosh, what I like is the idea of when you're dropping your food off and doing the little cartons, that I imagine that it's a feeling of getting a takeaway delivered to you that perhaps young kids had never experienced.
No, and I put, like this week, I gave them a donut with the meal, right? And she's like, "Why have you done dessert?" I said, "I just felt today they need a sweet, I got them. I didn't make the donuts, I didn't have time, but I just went and bought some 30 donuts and I just put them out in individual boxes and I sent them." And she's like, "Oh my God, they're going to love this." The thing is, it's that little gesture. The way I feel is, I do this even with my takeaway nights. It's like tonight I've got a takeaway night, and everybody who's ordered, just to open that little thing and see, "Oh, I didn't order this," and get a bar of chocolate or just something little.
Nice little surprise.
I would love that.
Yeah.
I would love opening something and think, "Oh, why is that in there?" It's just something different. I'm very different. I try and do very different things. This is the last thing I'm going to say. I did afternoon tea just before Christmas for all these, street where they live on their own. Some of them don't have family. Some of them have family and they don't come and see them. I go to old people's home normally at Christmas because I'm a girl guiding leader as well. And we've not been allowed to do all that last year. So I've missed that. So went, knocked on the door, said, oh, I'm going to bring you afternoon tea. Oh, we can't go out. I said, no, I'm not taking you out. You're staying in your house. I'm going to bring it to you. And 3 people said to me when I dropped off, so I had like a cake, I had sandwiches, sausage rolls, you know, little quiches and just nice stuff like that. Knocked on the door. This lady opened the door. She goes, don't come in, don't come in. I've just had a COVID test, so I don't know whether I've got it. I said, don't worry, I'm not coming in. Here, I'm going to leave this on your doorway. Take it in when you can. So she goes, oh, I can't bend down. I said, okay, move back. So I went and I put it on her table and I came back out. And she goes, what is that? And I said, it's your afternoon tea. I was just hoping you were going to bring me a sandwich and a bag of crisps.
Nice.
And it just made her smile. And now every time I walk past her house, she'll stand there and she'll come quickly to I think that's the only time she'll stand up from a chair to come to the window and wave at me, right? And that just makes my day and just makes me so happy that somebody smiled because I did something. Brilliant. It's not the end of the world. It didn't cost me an arm and a leg or anything, you know, but it is who I am, and hopefully I can carry on.
I think, Sushma, I think you brought a lot of joy to all of our lives today about some of the things that you've shared with us. So I really appreciate that. I know everyone's kind of short on time, so and you might have to get off and do other things. So I just wanted to just sort of wrap up really and give you an opportunity to just have any final thoughts, final words really on and you know, just to say a big thank you really on our behalf for you know, I'm sure we could talk forever. And it's been a really lovely conversation, so thank you for that. But I know, Julia, anything before you have to disappear, anything you want to add, contribute?
I'm not sure really. I mean, like you say, you know, Sush, the things that you've been bringing today, I've been writing like little things down as we go along, and like when you were speaking first, you know, around the courageousness that you got, your entrepreneur, how resilient you were, especially those really dark times, and how you were able to pull yourself around. And I think that, you know, it's not just women who pull yourself around, is it? We all have to do that, but we all have to support each other to do that, because we all go through those up and down moments. And that just reminds me of things like, you know, we talked about compassionate and kindness and things, and how you pick those, and how your emotions come out of all your pores, and how difficult that is to do these days on these sorts of meetings or get-togethers that we're having, and how much harder you have to work to be able to do that. And what brings me, a couple of my team have challenged me, you know, a few times in terms of, you know, not challenged, but in many ways being really kind and contacting me after meeting, asking me if I'm all right and was everything okay today, and just, you know, those checking in that might be that you are okay, it's just come across differently, but, you know, checking in that we're all okay, and that we need, you know, do you need a brew like we're doing today just to air things or support each other, because, you know, life is hard for people like us, let alone, you know, some of the people that we've talked about who we support today. You know, some of the things that Susha said in terms of the supporting each other and how we have to just help, and those little bits of those random acts of kindness mean so much in these days, don't they? The way you get those little bits, and a little brown package on your doorstep and you don't know who it's from, and it's somebody who's just doing that. And somebody when I go on my dog walk at the moment, she's got on her railings Valentine's Day cards for free that she's made, and everyone can just pick one up, which is really lovely, isn't it, in terms of just those little things that make you smile when you're on your dog walk.
Yeah. Oh, that's lovely, that. Yeah, I might come round your way then. What about you, Donna?
I'll pick you a card up next time I'm doing my dog walk.
Thank you, Julia. What about you, Donna?
I don't think so. I've really enjoyed it, Paula. Thanks so much for the invitation. I've really enjoyed listening to everybody, and I've learned a lot. And yeah, thank you very much. It's great what you're doing.
Yeah.
Good luck to everyone.
Yeah. Well, thanks for being with us, Donna. Final thoughts from you, Sosh?
It's been great. I was absolutely terrified of coming on this today. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you very much. Sorry, I didn't mean to brag about myself or anything. Sorry for getting a bit emotional. One thing I heard this on Tuesday, I went on one of these Unique Ladies. It was a networking thing. And with the way I obviously, you know, have gone into my business with the spices and all the different things I do, the lady turned around and said to me, she told everyone this saying, and I thought, wow, and it's hit me every day. It makes me realize, it says, now is the time to be fearless.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's true. Everybody's saying, oh, because of this, we can't do this. But it's making you think. I would have never gone in a million years, never gone into doing my own spices or, you know, doing things I've done in the last 11 months. But it is true. It's difficult times. We all just have to get on with it. And there's nothing else we can do. Otherwise, we'll just sit there, cry, mope, and like Paula is a very good supporter of me. She knows when I'll go quiet, she'll message me what's going on, why are you quiet, right? I need a question to you, all of you. I need to do something silly. I've not done something. I can't think of what I can do this year. I did a snake challenge with Paula last year. So I want to do something for the hospice again. I know there's the 500 smiles or something, but I just don't want to get people to donate for nothing. I want to do something. So if you have any ideas of what I can do,
Yeah,
we'll get our thinking caps on.
Sorry.
Yeah, get your ideas into social for Twitter.
Yeah,
yes,
exactly.
and you know what? I actually did have one, but I thought it was a bit dangerous and I couldn't do that. I went for a walk yesterday to Moses Gate Park. Oh my God, it was beautiful because it was all frozen, the lake and everything. And I just thought, I've always wanted to, even when I was a kid, because we never saw snow or, ice in Kenya. So when I came here and things were cold and that, and yesterday when I saw the park, the lake frozen, I just thought it would be so nice to stand on this now. Not a good idea.
Don't do it, Josh, don't do it.
Can I end on one little thing that this is from my good friend Julia, who sent me this. I don't know if you can see that. But, a good kind of message to remind us all about to end on. So thank you for that.
And you know what? Women can support women. I know sometimes people say women can be bitches to each other. Yes, they can. There are some who can, but I've met a lot of nice women since I got into business. So
lovely women on today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Nice to see you all.
Have a nice day.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.